Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Segun Adebule, a career coach and a customer experience leader. Welcome again to New Generation Man podcast. During this season, we are focusing on career development and we're trying to give people information on what they need to be the best version of themselves. So, in terms of this season that we are in, we're talking about a lot about career topics. And over the past few weeks, we've talked a lot of on different careers, different topics, and different issues. But let me restate the goal of my channel. The goal of my channel is just to make sure that everybody has the information they need to grow physically, emotionally, and intellectually. It's a self-improvement and development channel. So, but right now, let's like I said, we're focusing on careers. And in the bit to focus on career, I felt the need to bring up this particular topic of product management because I know that a lot of people want to pivot into tech and some people have the interest to go into product management. So I did speak to one of my colleagues. I know that he's a guru in product management and he has been in the industry for a long time. And in fact, I'm passionate about conversations about careers in general. So I just felt that, and to be honest, we should have had this, series a long time, but schedules were always clashing. But I'm happy that we're able to make out the time to have it today. So I'm going to introduce him in a second, but I just wanted to introduce the topic is how to start a career in project management. A lot of people are already in project management. Some people are transitioning into product management. Some already are in the career, but they just want to really know, okay, how can I scale up? What are the things I can do? How can I improve myself? Where I can get resources and things like that. So would I be into all that? But first of all, let me introduce my guest. His name is Segun Adebule. Funny story. We went to the same secondary school. We now got the opportunity to also work together in the same company for about, I think, a year and a half. The way life works. So that even made us, rekindle our friendship and become close. So he's someone that is, passionate about product management and he has been in this space for a long time. And he's currently the chief products officer and co-founder at Cage Guardian, which is he works remotely, and this company is currently in Canada because it's based in Canada now. So, without much delay, let me welcome Segun Adebule to the podcast. So, Segun, thank you so much for making the time, and welcome to the Generation One podcast. So, you have the floor.
Yeah. Hello. Thank you, Segun. Hello, guys. I can see a very familiar name as part of the attendance.
Yeah,
It's been very good. It's a long time coming. We've been
yeah,
trying to, as Segun said, we're trying to get this or make this happen, but my schedule, like always, I've never really had the time, but at this moment, I was able to have the time to, set this up. Um, well, today is basically going to be very interactive. It's not just going to be like a presentation where I'm just talking. I'm going to share all what I've learned, and um, a lot of it will come from also product management, not just from a Nigerian perspective, but from an international perspective, and what is expected. So I have a slide. I'm going to share my screen now. So
yes, go ahead.
I'm going to share my
You might
screen
already
now.
be in
So
product management.
some of you might be open to come into product management. And um, basically, where I'll start from is I'll say, what would you call product management? Um, as the name implies, there is a product first, then management. Management just means you're managing stuff. You are not just managing it, you're growing it, you're ensuring it's sustainable. And from a business perspective, you're also is also profitable because that's actually the goal of it. If a business has a product, at the end of the day, the business was to make profit from that product. So if you're managing that product, it means you're accountable for the growth of that product, you're accountable for growing the product, you're accountable for ensuring that whatever product you push out, um, your users are able to use it. It doesn't frustrate and make people's life more difficult. And you're also able to, you know, grow it based on referrals, the usability, All those things matter a lot. So overview, you know, it's that's just basically all I'm saying. And I'll throw a question back at everyone here and I'll ask, why do you want to go into product management? Before I would keep saying what I want to say, like I would like every each of you to like introduce yourself, then you know, I'll go through everyone, then after that, I'll keep on talking. It's going to be very interactive, you know. If you don't want to talk, I'll respect that. That's all right, you know. So
Okay, you know what? I know some people on the call that will be eager to answer that question. So let me call on them so that to make it faster. Okay, so we
definitely.
have so we have Anifat on the call. She's currently transitioning into product management. So I made sure that I told her to come on this call. So I want her to answer the first question. If you can unmute your mic to tell us, your own answer to the question. Anifat, can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, I can. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. So go ahead. Let's hear your answer to the question. So
My
Shagun, could you
network
take
is the question again, please.
yes, that's what I wanted to say. Shagun, can you take the question again?
Okay, the question is like, why product management? You know, because I'm basically doing a talk on starting your career in product management. So my question to you is, why the choice for product management? If you don't have any answer, is valid. Really, I'm not looking to
Okay.
scrutinize.
It wasn't easy at first because okay, yeah. It wasn't easy at all because I thought since it was tech line, it was all coding and stuff. And when I have apps, I wanted to know how all this came to be, how they arranged. Or did they just make up their mind? They just do this, and get it out there. People are using it. Oh, this app is so much fun. I wanted to know, oh, who brought out the idea? Who wanted this app? How did they think about it? It was so much fun. Oh, you might sit down thinking about something and oh, this is already out there. How did this person come to think about it yet? But I didn't have that courage because I felt like, oh, it has to do with coding. Oh, since it's an app and all that. Okay, but while I later understood that, oh, you can be a product manager and get to direct all this. You may not necessarily be the one building the app and all that. So I wanted to like, oh, let me see how it goes. And it happened to be also like furthering my the line I was in as a customer service that okay, you're doing something for the users also. Well, it wasn't that bad. It doesn't mean oh, I'm totally just leaving this path I am in. It's just like venturing into it higher from that side. So I just went ahead and I went for it and it was good. It was fun knowing that oh, it wasn't that all that stressful. It's not like I'm lazy, but it wasn't all that stressful. Getting that oh, I'm not coding. Yes, I just have to understand everything, the basics, and being able to lead people to do what they have to do.
Okay, well said. Well said. It's everyone has an interesting story why why they joined product management. Like for me, my first product was basically a travel platform, and I had a complaint many years ago, and I basically built the app. But the reason I had developers working for me and everything I paid. But what actually even made it happen was because, when you have developers, sometimes delays, things were not just working right. And I said, you know what? Um, I'm going to learn how to do everything, you know. And it was that annoyance that actually basically even drove me into this. But what further refined it further was Quick. At Quick, I said, okay, because prior to that, I'd worked with Signtech, and Signtech was based in UK. They didn't even have a physical office in Lagos. And Signtech built products for banks in United Kingdom. So we're trying to also develop products for like your popular Nigerian Chicken Republic and co. Internal apps, basically internal apps that work with different departments. So that being said, mine was out of frustration and it was just basically not necessarily because I would say I love product or you know was just because I just felt that okay, if I need to get things done, how can I get things done further? And I also love marketing. I also love interacting with people. I'm a people's person. So I find it easy to interact with people. And when it comes to product management, one very critical thing, which is the next thing I'm going to talk about, is the skills required for success. In product management, effective communication, you need to communicate. Like, your communication skills is absolutely everything. And you have to understand that you're dealing with a diverse, not just internal stakeholders, your team, you're dealing with external stakeholders, customers. You might have businesses, and it matters on kind of product you're leading. If it's a B2B or if it's a B2C. If it's a B2B, B2B is business to business. Your software is catering to businesses. Then you might be dealing with execs, you might be dealing as a product manager, you might be having communications with execs, you might be having communications with like top managers, top directors, a whole wide range of individuals. And you really need to be able to listen to people, not just find out, because sometimes people will talk to you and they won't really put out what their problem is plainly. You need to be able to decipher, you know. So communication is absolute in product management. Ideas, the ability to be able to, pick out little things and create ideas from conversations you've had. So it might just be someone say, "Oh," and maybe bring a phrase and say, "Oh, I we had this problem," and that might not even be the problem I'm talking about in the office, but it just lets you know that they had a problem here, and they just had to bypass it and be doing something else. And by the time you create a map, you map everything out, so you can probably see like a bigger picture of how everything is connected. And feedback feedback is like almost absolutely everything in products. You need to constantly get feedback. That's where, like Shegu now, as a customer service leader, customer service is very critical, especially if your product has customer service department. You're going to get a lot of feedback from that team. There's because they're constantly communicating with uh, your users. So you can always understand what's going on. They'll probably be the first to know if your platform is down. They'll be the first to know if there's a bug. They'll be the first to know so many things. So you have to develop relationships with these teams within the organization to make things happen for you and for you to be able to succeed in product management. And that's basically collaboration. You have to collaborate with CX, you have to collaborate in marketing, you have to collaborate with sales, you have to collaborate with anybody that's potentially going to, help your product grow or give some stability to your product. Then the other part is you need to be very analytical, and that is data is everything. And that part, you can do that part sometimes alone, sometimes you can't do it alone. Sometimes you need the development team, sometimes you need the CX team to give you data. You can get data from different parts of your company. And from this data, you need to analyze the data. What do you see? What are the trends that this data is showing you? What can you decipher from the information you're seeing? Because everything tells a story, and everything tells you whether you're doing well, you're doing bad, or you're just staying neutral. And as a product manager, you really don't want to stay neutral. You want to see some form of improvement. It can just be 1% or 0.5 or 0.2% improvement. And for you to be able to know those percentages, you need to be very analytical. And that means you also need to have skills. If you don't have the skills of, um, processing data, Power BI, Tableau, SQL, the world has really changed. And it's not something you necessarily need to go somewhere to pay anyone. There's ChatGPT. you know, if you don't even understand the data, though a lot of companies will say don't upload their data, you won't upload their data into ChatGPT. Companies don't like that. Yeah. But you can create a dummy if you have like a format, CSV, process it. You can change some things on it, you know, and run it through, see what it tells you. Then if you have friends, and that's why you need to also um you need to talk to people as a product person. You need to have friends everywhere. You need to have friends that are data guys. You need to have friends that your friends have to be everywhere because you need everyone's help to succeed. You just can't succeed on your own, you know. You might not necessarily even be the one to run the data and process it. You might have a data analyst with you that can do that for you. So, but you also need to be able to collaborate with these people. Then understanding your customers' needs. That's why I said all this all comes to you're trying to understand what's going on with your customer. That's why you're looking at the data. You're trying to understand what's going on with your product. You're also trying to make decisions based on this data, you know, and you're going back to management or you're going back to the board. It matters on the level of product management. If you're in a small startup, you're probably going back to management or the board. If you're in a very big company, you're probably going back to your boss, which might be like a director or a VP. And in that case, you need to go to be able to push your narratives. You need to go from a data standpoint. You need to be able to show them that look at this data. I've run this data across this. I can see there is a fall in customers due to payments. Like you have to be very specific, you know. By the time you have a presentation and you have these discussions, they will know that, oh, yes, this is actually really a problem and we need to prioritize, you know, and that will give you the go ahead, you know, because it's not every time as a product manager you have to say to just tell the team this is where we're going. Sometimes you need higher ops approvals to do that. Does anyone have any question?
Okay. I have a question. Okay, so yeah, I know that you're taking us through, some of the skills that is needed as a product manager,
Yeah.
but I don't know if you still go into how people can get started. Do you understand? Because there are a lot of people that are potentially, want to start product management, but they are trying to know what it's about, which you are doing a very good job of explaining what it is. But I don't know if you have that where you can kind of like explain how they can get started. So that's the question I have.
That's actually my next slide.
Oh, excellent. Go ahead.
So, but as I said, I want it to be very interactional. So I want people to, uh, there's one thing they say, there is nothing like a stupid or dumb question. Like every question matters because sometimes, even when it comes to users, someone might say something to you that, oh, I clicked on because users will always try to use your platform, even ways you can't think of. And someone might tell you, oh, I did this and did this step and did this step and got to this. And you're like, you did what? And you realize that, oh, there's actually a way to get to something on the app that you didn't know about as a product person. Even the development guys don't even know about it. And next, and this is a real story. This happened even in Field Safe. When I was product owner at Field Safe, we had a user just told us there was a certain way to view, like if you click on the app in a certain way, you'll be able to view the location of the individual using the platform, like the worker or something. And no one knew that was even on the app. So nothing is, everything is valid. Every feedback is valid, every question. And that's why I'm saying that if you have any
Yeah,
question at any
a question.
point,
Yeah, if they have a question, I'll prefer that they drop
yeah.
it. Then we'll take it at the end. I think to be fine
Oh,
that way.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So steps to start your career in product management, right now, I would say, like for me, one thing that really helped me, especially like for the international roles, coming over and before I moved over, the ability to get interviews was, I would say, product dive actually did a lot because not just even my resume of saying I had, but saying product dive at my CSPO. So the first thing is for Nigeria, there's product dive, there's a school for product management, and you can enroll with product dive to start some courses. They'll basically give you fundamentals. There are different levels of with product dive that you can run through. And I would say Scrum, there's a Scrum school where you can get like your Scrum certificate. Scrum is an agile process of development. There's also an agile body you can sign up to where you can get safe. It's called safe. So basically, you can be a safe product manager, safe PM. You can be a safe product owner, and you can be a safe. There's I think it's 5.0. Why is Scrum important? I'll come to that. You can be a safe. There are different frameworks. So and you have to understand what type of company are you looking at working with determines what type of certification should you get. If you're looking at working with the likes of IBM, Microsoft, the big companies, you need to go for SAFE because their structure follows the SAFE procedure. There's a procedure and framework for how development is driven in this organization. So if you have even from product school, if you have a product certificate from product school, you might not necessarily align with a Microsoft because Microsoft uses SAFE 5.0 Agile framework. You get what I mean? So you need to be able to understand what kind of company you're looking at. If it's a startup, most startups, once they just see you have something product management, they're happy with that, you know. But the bigger the organization, the more you might need to have, the more certifications you might need. Some of them are even still using waterfall. That's the old agile, it's an old agile method. Some organizations still use that. So you need to actually get insight into the company. So basically, any company you're trying to work with, I would suggest first, you're trying to get into product management, you have a company you're looking at, potentially you also work with, go on LinkedIn, connect to someone, probably on the development team. And when you connect with people, there's something I'll say critically, and a lot of people make mistakes with that. The moment you connect with someone that you don't know from anywhere, don't start with asking for things. Just try to interact with the person's posts, comments for a while. Give it some time. Person, oh, this is fantastic, lovely, like it. Let the person see your name. As time goes on, if you reach out to the person, oh, I have a quick question. What framework do you use? The person will definitely answer you. But if the person doesn't know you from anywhere, you just added the person first thing, hello, good afternoon. Like, why should the person talk to you? The person won't talk to you. So that's something I would advise people when you connect with people and when you're trying to start this career, you need to connect with a lot of people. So you have to have like a wide range of companies you look at. The product guys, and a lot of times product guys always talk. In fact, I say we talk a lot. So you see online posting things, talking about things, and a lot of times they'll probably even give you, if you look at their posts, you probably understand what framework they're using from their post. They'll say something relating to it, you know. So that's the first, the school, LinkedIn connections, you engage. There's so many products. Product school does a lot of presentations and they bring in top guys from most of the top companies. They do it regularly. It's free to join. Just join. Those guys tell their stories of how they got into it, what they needed. Some people, I've met product managers that were pilots, didn't have anything, product, didn't do anything. So anyone can always pivot. That's something you need to know. You can always pivot from any industry. Then hands-on experience. There are a lot of startups and a lot of people out there, but before you reach out to them for even an internship, you have to have done the rest. You have to have gained the skills, know how to use the tools like Jira, just get familiar with the things used in day-to-day product management, the tools used. No one wants to really employ anyone that they will now start taking time to start teaching, because a lot of times it's always a fast-paced environment. Like they expect you to know certain things, So you have to come prepared. You have to have skilled up and leveled up to that point where you are prepared to jump in. Then it's just skills basically. The more you talk, then with your skills, you've added people of LinkedIn, you've done the certifications, you're always putting comments out about product, following the product guys. There are product leaders in every field. And there's something that I say. Um, there are certain guys that have said what's going to happen 5 years from now. And their prediction is always quite right because they've been in the industry so long. They know how to read data. They know how to analyze trends and everything. If you're able to connect to people like that, you will also have an insight to the future. You also be able to connect and align yourself with where the industry is going. So that's also very critical. So that's, I hope I've been able to, explain how you can come in. And certificates, um, your skills, you need to build up your skills. You need to Coursera, go to Coursera, upskill. There are a lot of upskilling sites. Even on ChatGPT, you can tell ChatGPT, I want to become a product manager. I have this. What skills can I learn? ChatGPT will list out everything. I want to work with a company, like put the company's website, put their link. ChatGPT will check it up and tell you these are the skills you will require. You look through the list. Do I have the skills? If I don't have it, then you have to get yourself skilled up on those skills. Find a way to do it. So that's for the steps. As I said, just drop your questions. By the time I'm done, I'll just run through all the questions and answers Shego said. Um, then essential resources for aspiring product managers. I don't like reading. I will say that to you. But you just have to keep reading. It doesn't stop because things are changing rapidly. Like even right now, the world is changing and evolving rapidly. And let's say you're a product manager for a company, or you become even, let's say, a junior product manager or assistant, or you just join a company in the product team and you're working on, I'll give you a story, real example. Yeah, that's fine. I'll give a story, real example. My company, we were that's a field safe. Management wanted us to invest in some form of satellite feature for the platform, because the platform was a platform for workers that work in isolated environments or remote environments. It's called Lone Worker. It's just to track the safety of workers. And they wanted to invest heavily in satellite technology. And I was to do, I was the product guy in charge. So I also do my due diligence to, that's what management wanted. But I had to do my due diligence and do my research and give my opinion and do a presentation to management. And on doing that was like 3 years ago. And satellite technology would cost a lot, I mean tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars rather. And about then, Starlink was really, even around North America, was growing. They had not covered every area. So when I did my research, the major thing I just said back when I went back to management was, see, we're going to have Starlink everywhere in the next few years. If you're investing in satellite technology right now, that's going to cost you a lot. And that guy, for his mobile phone, can just quickly connect to Starlink. He's not going to need you anymore. And that's actually what killed it off, because they realized that, this is actually happening. Elon Musk is investing billions. So why should we try to compete when we can leverage what he has? So resources means you need to be up to date. You need to follow so many technology platforms, You need to just be following so many guys. You need to read online courses. These are books. These are some of my books, and I'll show you guys. The making of a manager. I'll say the making of a manager. Why? At least this will help you deal with people. You're going to deal with a lot of people in product management, different characters. Some characters you can't explain, some characters you can explain, you know. And there's nothing you can do about it. You just have to find a way to work with them. So Making of a Manager is a book that I've read. Product-led growth. Product-led growth is a book too that I've read too. The Innovator's Dilemma is a book that I've read. I have this 20 minutes manager, Harvard Business School, 20 minutes manager. It just talks about things like getting the work done, managing time, managing products, running meetings, financial basics, giving effective feedback, delegating work, creating business plans, presentations. You just constantly need to upskill yourself. You need to read books, you need to do online courses, you need to connect with you need to have join like a product community, rub your mind. Even if you've not even started or you've not even become a product manager, join the community, attend their meetings, listen to what people are saying. An opportunity would come. It's just for you to just, when people see you have knowledge, everyone wants someone that is knowledgeable and someone that is smart on their team. Once you're joining these teams and once you join these groups and once you show what you're made of, basically, you're also talking on LinkedIn, you're also making posts, you're also like just being very active in the product scene. Recruiters will reach out to you. Like that's something I will tell you definitely because someone is always watching, you know. So it's very important you build up. Also, AI platforms. There's so many AI platforms, not just ChatGPT, DeepSeek. Every platform now has AI, Copilot, even GitHub. And one thing I would say, even though like people will say, oh, when you want to become a product manager, you don't need to go technical. But one thing I would say to you, and from what I've seen, the world is really changing. The world is changing very fast. And because of AI, as a product manager, you need to actually understand the technical part. Because now with natural language, you can tell your AI, oh, write your PLD or, you can tell your AI that, okay, I need to scale up my platform. My developer said we're running on this. What's the best way to go? Because you're going to be involved in all these conversations with the technical team. And you don't want anybody bamboozling you, telling you that, oh, this is the best. Let's go for this. You need to also be able to say, oh, but what about this? What's your opinion on this? And you need to get into the technicalities and understand why one should be better than the other. So resources, you need to be very resourceful. I can't understate this, because you really don't want to be that product person that meetings would happen and people you don't want to be you don't necessarily need to be the one that speaks the most, but you also don't want to be the most or the least informed person in the group. You should actually be the most informed person in any meeting you're going as a product manager. So news, what's happening in the news, your product can be, you just need to be very resourceful. Um yeah, yeah. And I can count like courses I've just done, or even like I use Audible. Audible is also something for books. I showed you these books, but I've read way more. I don't even know the number of books. Sometimes I just listen to books while I'm doing things, because the thing about resources, it's like you're gathering a pool of knowledge. You're gathering a pool of knowledge. You might not need something from this book in the next year or two, but there will be a certain situation you would come into and you remember somewhere something that gives you some form of idea on the way to go or the way to handle such situations. Nothing is new under the sun, they say. So things might have newer appearances, but you just need to be able to stay on top of the game. Um, and the most important thing I'll also say to you for resources, especially for if you're an individual that you find it difficult to, deal with people, you would need a lot of um, emotional intelligence resources because it's going to be very important. No matter what your customer says to you or what your director, no matter what people say to you, the way you react is also going to factor into how far you're going to go. So the resources would not just deal with products. You need to also build yourself, your character, your ability to stir the room up in a positive way. So for me, that's like those are the critical and most important things for an aspiring product manager. Um, then secondly, for people that want to like when it comes to internships, and I'll just say this. If you've taken time out from what I previously said, that you connect with different people on social media across around the world, Germany, US, Canada, Brazil, China, just grow your LinkedIn. See the perspective, see the way people from the different regions are within the field. See the way they are processing things, their conversations, the things they post. This would also help you say, okay, this is how you talk. You get to understand that there's a way you speak. You can't really show your emotion that you're happy or sad when you're in product management. Uh, you have to basically just be professional all the time. You have to, people should know to say, oh, he's angry today, or he's sad today, or, you know, those things are critical, especially like in the West, because people are always trying to read you. And sometimes people are also trying to annoy you. So they're trying to read your reactions to certain things, you know. And being accountable for a product, remember profitability, there's so many things you're accountable for. So it means that anyone across the company can just reach out to ask you a question, even when you're having and you can be called out by the company at any point. Come and talk about your product. That's something that's happened to me like numerous times. Like you might not even expect it, but your CEO will call you that, oh, you know what, Shegu, come here, come tell the guys what you're working on and everything. So it means you always have to be everly ready. You have to be able to defend, you have to know your products in and out. You have to be so informed that every time you speak, people are always going online to search for stuff or validate things you're saying that, oh, what you said is very true. Like new information. You shouldn't just be saying the same thing to everyone over and over and over. You should be able to be dynamic. So that brings me now to my final slide. And my final slide just is saying that the best product managers understand successful products are built at the intersection of users' needs and business goals. And what does that mean? It means that where your business goal is on one hand, what management is telling you, your users' needs is on this other hand, and you have to join them together to be able to make a good product and make a product that is going to be profitable and is able to grow. So you need to be able to get to that standpoint because it sounds easier. Nothing is easy in life. I'll tell you, nothing is easy in life, and things don't always work out the way we plan. It's just the way building is, you know. You can decide you're building a house today and you're bringing sand tomorrow and it rains heavily, there's a big storm. You know, you can just, based on what that forecast and being informed, you can move the date of them to bring the sand, you can move the date of certain things that would not affect the project. So that's where you have to be informed, you know. And it's that information that will keep you um ahead and will make you be successful at the end of the day, and also your behavior. So that's it for my little story or my little presentation on how to how to be a product manager and how to um, successfully start a career in product management. So now I'll just basically I want it to be interactive. I'll go in through questions, then we'll drive the engagement based on what you say.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Segun. Okay, so someone raised a question about why Scrum is important, but I think you've answered that already. But do you still want to talk about that a bit?
I'll go further into it. So every company has a framework, and a lot of times it's, if you have a VP of product or a CPO, a chief product officer, or whoever is the top guy of product management in the organization, determines what framework the organization uses. So, and it's, you're dealing with people. You can start off and say, oh, you're telling that, oh, let's work on vibes. And I'm being very open with you. Your VP can say, oh, you know what, let's just get it done. Let's just get it done. Like, let's, I don't really think about frameworks. You know, the way they'll say it to you, they're basically telling you that let's not use any structure, let's just get things done. Is your boss, you follow your boss. But if your boss comes to tell you that, oh, we're implementing Scrum, and this also happened to me. First time from Vibes, he changed it to Scrum. After changing to Scrum, he said, oh, we also change it to another agile framework. You have nothing but to comply with whatever your VP is saying. So if your VP feels that the team is saying that, oh, Scrum, maybe Scrum is not really working effectively for them, you really don't have a say. You just, you know, move on to what the company tells you to do. But for me, I think Scrum is actually really good because everyone knows their part, you know. As a product person, you know your part you're playing, you know where you should stay. You have your scrum master. Your scrum master is the guy that basically mediates. It's basically like a referee in a wrestling match. It's the one that blow, oh, you guys, you're punching yourself below the belt. No, let's not do that. He's the one that tries
Mm-hmm.
to facilitate, you know, he tries to facilitate things happening. You have a problem, the development team seems, or someone in the development team seems not to be putting in the effort, and you can let him know that, oh, you've seen progress from every other person, you've not seen anything, and you complain to the scrum master, and the scrum master takes it up and sees how we can improve upon that. So every framework is different, and I would say development in Nigeria and development in Western part of the world is totally different. The guys are, and I would, it's kind of like a shock because in Nigeria, and I'll give you a perfect example. If you're building a platform and let's say login is like a basic thing, it's not even something you think about. This part of the world, your development team can tell you that, oh, you know, and this happened to me. Development team told me, oh no, that one sprint won't be enough. That no, they will need like a month or two to do the login page. And you're looking at the development team, but you can't show any emotions, you know. The director of engineering is telling you that his team cannot build login in 1 month. Well, what do you want to do? You get what I mean? As a product manager, there's so much you can do, but it also deals with how you can convince these people. So there's more of a personal relationship. You need to be able to build relationships with people to convince them to, you know, do better, be better, however way you can do it. Because things might not always pan out, even with your roadmaps, your timelines, things might not always work according to your plans because there are people involved. So people management is like absolutely key, you know. And that's why these frameworks are there. These frameworks are there to be able to ease this out because people have had these problems. Well, it's just what it is.
Okay. Okay, all right. Thank you so much for shedding more light on that. So I want to know, does anyone have any question? Let me try and call on Olani. You were very much interested in this, so I wanted to know if you had a question. Then while we wait for people to drop questions, I want to drop Segun Adebule's LinkedIn on the chat. So please, I'll encourage everyone on the call to please follow him on LinkedIn, follow his post, and I'm sure he'll be open to answering any questions that you might later have, regarding product management. So while we wait for people to ask questions, so let me just run through some of the things you said and some of the highlights that I picked. You let us know that yes, product management is a non-technical aspect of tech. But for you to be good at it and for you to be able to stand out, you need to understand the technical details so that you'll be able to relate with your peers and be able to like give insight into what is going on. Because when you are working with technical people, you need to actually understand the technical terms so that you can be able to relate with them and understand effectively, how they need to do what they do, the timelines they need to do it. Just like you were giving an example now when you said that you said, it should take them a month to build a login. You in your own mind, you know that it's not something that difficult and it shouldn't take that long. Do you get? But because you understand the technical details, that's how you can, have that confidence to, have that information or even say that. So I like the part where you said that, communication is key, analyzing data is key. So the truth is that most of the other skills that you have are developed over the years, maybe in your various roles, as maybe a customer service person or an operations specialist, all those things are interwoven, and those skills will definitely come out in your role as a product manager. Then I love the fact that you also talked about AI, especially for those that want to start. Like if you are targeting to work in a particular company, what are the certifications that are necessary to work in this particular company? And I love the way you broke it down when you said that, for startups, this is what to look out for this type of company, this is what to look out for, so that you are giving us like a kind of roadmap to how they can start a career in product management and what people should look out for. So depending on what you want to do, the type of companies you're interested in working with, that can serve as a guide. I like the fact that you also mentioned the role of customer service, like getting feedback. That yes, we are the ones, customer service professionals are the ones that get the details from the customer, have the feedback, then relate it to the product team and things like that. So just the point I'm just trying to drive at is that most of the skills that we have, are still very much needed and in the product management space. So no skill is lost and you just need to kind of like improve on that. Okay. So yes, Gbemi, I wanted to know if Gbemi is still on the call because she's also a product manager and she has experience also working with various teams. I just wanted to hear from her if she can also like show more light into how to, Gbemi Sola, if she can show more light into how to start a career in product management and just any advice that she has for professionals on the call. So Gbemi Sola, if you can just, give us your own contribution to this to be highly appreciated.
Then I missed out a page which I would jump into just after she
Okay.
talks. Yeah.
Okay. All right. No problem. We just have about less than 10 minutes left. So
Yeah.
Good evening,
yeah, go ahead.
everyone. Good evening,
Hi. Good evening.
everyone.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello,
Go ahead.
Segun. Segun, it's so
Hi,
nice to hear
Gbemi.
from you. All right. So, a very funny story. Segun actually, what's the word now? uh Ignited the passion for product management. I remember that I became bored at what I was doing and I wanted to just transition, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I know all those ride going back home, the conversations and all that. And it felt like he was
Mhm.
having fun at his own jobs because every day I had like new challenges, new headache. And I was like, okay, I think I want something like that. I'm tired of routine. So yeah, the first thing that I would advise is that there is a need for a mentor, when you're starting out in product management. Because yes, a couple of us who just do all those certifications and then realize that it's not really as easy as we've imagined. Because I mean, hearing about product management, everything can really seem so easy. But of course, every organization have their own way of doing things. And then it could just be that it will sort of deviate from what you already, the knowledge that you came with. So it's very good that you have someone that can actually hold your hands and walk you through. And I think, I mean, even preparing for my first interview, Segun played a huge role, so it's very good that you have someone that is willing to hold your hands and really walk you through the first few, rough years. I would always go back and say, oh, this is this, what should I do? And all of that. So yes, we must not forget the place of mentorship, especially if it's a background that if it happens that you do not have any experience or any background whatsoever. So yes, that's good. And secondly, I think we should also come with the um, approach of willing to learn. So, yes, because it's a new terrain, and if it's a new terrain, then you should know that it will come with its own challenges. So, most times, too, for newbies in product management, what you realize that at times we can be very hard on ourselves because those that are putting a couple of work is like you being on the same team with a Shegun, that there's that you could feel like, oh, I mean, what am I going to be doing here? But when you have the mindset that, I mean, it's an opportunity for you to learn from those that have put in the work and years, then it just helps you to really position yourself properly. So yes, I think that's another thing that I paid attention to. In fact, I remember that at the point where I was I'm going for when I was looking for internship opportunities, I always ask, I'll read about whoever the product manager was, and I'll read their profile, read their bio to better understand what they've done, what they've accomplished, and how that can impact my life because I knew that I was there to learn. So I think those two things are very. Then at times too, it's good that we go for conferences. So go for conferences and whatever learning opportunity presents itself. So I remember there's this product manager conference that we usually have. Then communities too, yeah, because communities like Product Dive that have they usually have programs around how you can develop as a product manager. So it's very very important that we involve ourselves in or get involved in those communities. So anything that you see that can add to you, so then if there are paid conferences, if there are free conferences, you want to really ensure that you pay that price because I mean you don't know it all. And Shagun has really mentioned a very deep point here. So even just recently, because each organization have different framework, and all of that. So when you go outside and you interact with other product managers, it just sort of opens your mind at, to a lot of possibilities out there. And of course, you may be working on probably in your company, SaaS company, and then somebody else is in fintech and all of that. So it helps you to better appreciate what every other person is doing, and then gives you that that broader view of how things can actually be done better. So it's important that you are not just in your little corner, just trying, just striving and feeling like you are the best PM that ever lived. Whereas there are other people out there doing good things. And so I remember that I'm trying to remember this conference that usually paid for at a hotel. I would go, there was even a year that they upgraded me to leaders. And I mean, I was in the same room with leaders with, InterSwitch, YouTube, name it. And it was like, okay, what am I doing here? But the conversations that we're having opened my eyes to a lot of things that that if I stayed in my little corner, I would not imagine being in a conference with the likes of Shegun, them having those conversations. So it just further helps you to grow and then opens you up to the things that are possible and that are achievable. So yes, I think those are the few points that I would like to add to every other thing that has been shared with us on this call. Those are the things that I have run with and that are still helping me. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Gwemi. But the funny thing about our conversation is we're both Shegun on this call. So some people may be thinking you're referring to me.
No, I meant
But
Segun,
obviously,
our
I
yeah.
know, I know. I know it's our guest. Yeah, Shegun Adebule. I know he's the one you were referring to. And, he already introduced the topic and, give us a proper introduction into what product management is. And Bimi, thank you so much for your contribution. I like the point that you made about attending conferences. It's very important because, and I like the fact you also gave an example that when you went for the conference, you were upgraded to a bigger one, that the leadership, and you were able to sit with other product leaders, learn more, and it opened your eyes to more things that you could do. If you didn't take that step to even register for the conference, how would you even get the opportunity to now, you know, uh, be in the same place with the top leader? So sometimes it's not just about the money. Sometimes just have the willingness to do it. Do you get? So once you have the willingness to do it, the opportunities will come to you. Then you also mentioned about Shegun also mentioned earlier about following industry leaders. I already mentioned that when I was talking about customer service too, that when you follow industry leaders, they post most of all these opportunities, they post these events that they have. And if it's an industry you are interested in, once they post those things, some of them are free, some are paid for, you can register for those webinars. And LinkedIn is a very good place for you to be able to find a lot of all those information. Do you understand? So very importantly, just as Shegun has highlighted, follow industry leaders. And I like the point that he also mentioned, that follow industry leaders from different countries, not just in Nigeria, so that you have a better view into different perspectives on how product management works. And just to round up, it's from what Shegun also said, it's a learning process, it's a ever increasing and learning field. So just like they reiterated, don't think you know it all. You need to always continue to learn and improve yourself. And I know that with a lot of all these points, you have all the tools and the resources you need to start your career in product management. So again, I want to thank Shegun. Shegun, you can stop sharing your screen now. Segun Adebule, for making out the time to have this conversation. Thank you so much for looking up a detailed slide that explained everything. Thank you all, everyone too that stayed on the call from the beginning and up till now. Your time here is very, very, very much appreciated. Thank you so much.